We will start the program in a few minutes. For the meantime, we would like to remind all of the participants of our house rules. We apologize for the inconvenience as we are experiencing technical difficulties. Hold on lang po. To formally start our program, let us proceed to our invocation and the singing of the national anthem.
Lord, fill our hearts with your precious gifts. Let us overcome our weaknesses with the strength change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference. Graciously hear us, O Lord, and put a light into our hearts and mind. Assist us today to grow in goodness and grace.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ang silanganan, alaw ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisingin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bugaw, malilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naglilingdig, ang bituin at araw ng kailan pang ay di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Ayan! Good afternoon mga ka-LS and good afternoon to our dear professors. Ano, ready na ba ang lahat? Are you ready mga ka-LS? Patingin naman ako ng mga heart reacts dyan kung ready na. Ayan, at umuulan na nga po ng heart reacts. Ngunit bago tayo magsimula, nais po naming i-congratulate ang ating mga ka-LS na talaga nga namang pasok na pasok sa listahan ni Dean, ang ating mga Dean's Listers. Ayan, congratulations po sa ating lahat at sana ay mas pagbutihin pa natin ang ating pag-aaral, lagit lagi para sa Diyos at bayan. Ayan. So, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our first General Assembly with the theme AmbiSosyal, Achieving Ambition in the Time of Pandemic. I am Mary Ortega from LS201 and I am your host for today. Ayan na nga po. At ano nga ba ang mga dapat nating abangan sa hapon na ito? Alam niyo ba mga ka-LS na ngayong hapon ay mas malilinawan tayo kung ano nga ba ang LS at ano nga ba ang mga sakop nito. At hindi lang yan. Meron kaming inimbitahan na ating mga ate at kuya from the LS community para magbigay sa atin ng mga tips and tricks kung paano ba natin masusurvive ang online classes natin ngayon. So, okay, before we proceed to our main part of our event, let us hear the opening remarks from one of our cast faculty members. Mga ka-LS, let us all welcome Mr. Alejandro Nueva Jr.
I-share naman please ng aking PowerPoint. Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for having me this afternoon for your history. Mga 50 ata yan. Please bear with me, konti lang yan, siglit lang. Pa-share please. Next please.
Nasagutan?
So again, thank you for having me on your first General Assembly today with the theme AmbiSosyal, Achieving Ambition in the Time of Pandemic. I have had the privilege to be one of your teachers in the Legal Studies program of LPU Cavite. I think there are a few teachers who are also in our session today. Sila sirs at saka sila ma'ams. Mostly, if not all of you, have been my students in the previous semesters. And some of you, I have had the pleasure of meeting personally, up close and personal, when the face-to-face class session was still the norm. So yung mga hindi ko dyan estudyante, siguro yung mga freshmen lang. Pero yung mga sophomore, tapos yung mga nasa third year, fourth year, naging estudyante ko nata in other subjects. Next, please. So our times do not allow us to meet on a face-to-face basis. We cannot exchange pleasantries with handshake, with embrace, with beso-beso. Meron akong estudyante mahilig sa beso-beso. O yung high five, yung iba nagche-chest bump pa, or other appropriate gestures of Pinoy greetings. Yung iba mas malala. Sabi nila, tampakan. To report, we cannot also report to school and conduct activities such as this General Assembly in the appropriate venue at LPU University Cavite. We cannot also have physical preparation, yung mga magde-decorate ng stage, yung sa technical preparation, everything. And we cannot gather warm bodies to share fraternal cordiality, friendship, or camaraderie, or academic bond as a family in our very own College of Arts and Sciences. We cannot also, at least on a face-to-face basis, kindle the esprit de corps between and among us, the students and faculty alike of the College of Arts and Sciences. Next, please. So given these limitations, we hold our General Assembly via Zoom or Google Meet or MS Teams, whatever is available, under the so-called new normal because of the pandemic that we are experiencing. And an occasion like this reminds me of my college days. I was a college student in 1991 to 1995 in Manila, in one of the universities in Manila. And back in the day, I am also actively involved in student organizations. We call it the RSO, or the Recognized Student Organizations, and student government, not only as a member, but as an officer. So I did not content myself to just being a member of the Recognized Student Organization, but I was an officer from secretary to vice president to president. And later on, the roles have been reversed. From being a student advisee, I became a student advisor for these recognized student organizations. Because of my long engagement with the university where I graduated, I became also the advisor of even the student government there. Now, it serves as my training ground to engage in relevant and meaningful organizational activities and develop leadership skills and answer the call of politics, that is at least campus politics, and service to fellow students. Yung sabi natin, ka-course mates. Next, please. Now, college life will not be as exciting, memorable, colorful, and enjoyable if you do not look beyond the purely academic tasks in school, or you just go by the typical run of the day in your schedule of academic formation or training. As I look back, the fondest memories I have in my college life are those outside the typical classroom routine, like getting your hands dirty. We call it in leadership parlance as experiential learning. So you get to experience a lot of things, not only in the confines of the classroom or of the school, but also outside of the classroom outside of the campus or the school where you are enrolled. That's why learning beyond the confines of the classroom means learning more. It is to learn more. You double the fun, you double the excitement, and you double the learning. And these activities, experiential learning outside of the classroom, are complementary to purely academic learning, which will give you dynamic life skills. You acquire these dynamic life skills, not just from the theory that you learned inside the classroom. Next, please. So I'd like to share with you three things that I think you must have as far as our General Assembly is concerned. So this could appeal to you personally or to the organization or organizationally. The first thing is you have to be engaged. The second is you have to go networking. And the third, borrowing the language of the millennial, you have to be woke. So I'll discuss this briefly in the next slides. So when I ask you to be engaged or to get engaged or to have some engagements, you have to engage in co-curricular activities to complement learning and studies. Your academic programs will have with it your major, minor subjects, theories, etc., and the philosophies behind the subjects that you're taking up. But that may not be enough. So you must take an active interest on the things that you are passionate about, especially something that is germane or related to your being an LS student learners, legal studies. So you have to work around some advocacies that you strongly share a philosophy with, or something you feel aligned to your life principles that you eventually might want to champion. So kung meron kayong kapareho ng mga hangarin, mga advocacies, you can join. But should you find none, wala kayong makita, you can start one. Ikaw ang maging founder o pasimula nito. That is how you make your engagement. Next. Next, please. So you must also go networking. You must network. As you are now members of your own legal study society in LPUC, and we hail this birthday of a new society, the LS Society, LSS, Legal Study Society in our school, LPU Cavite. You have to forge partnership or networking with similar existing organizations from other schools in Cavite. For example, in CABSU, they have there the Association of, I think, Political Science Majors, Region 4A, or in Metro Manila, or those schools located in the National Capital Region or in the nation's capital. Adamson University, PCU, National University, TIP, TUP, De La Salle University, even University of the Philippines, Ateneo. They have similar existing organizations that you can network with or forge your partnership with these organizations. By networking, you can find common grounds through which you can expand your circle and network and work with them on some pilot projects that are mutually beneficial or one that would redound to your benefit taking up the course legal studies. It may not be called legal studies programs in other school, but it's practically rooted on the same um, course preparation that you can find the common grounds with, like political science. And from this networking, you can adopt training programs and best practices that you can now apply to your course and be at par with them or those taking up similar courses or programs in other schools. Next, please. The third would be you must be woke. The millennials would have this mentality of being woke. And I know you are woke because as a political animal, your course separates you from those who are not woke. Those courses which do not require social awareness or being tuned to the political happenings of the day, the burning issues in our society. It's not enough that there is this information exchange, the proliferation of news or a barrage of news. And some of them are not good news, some of them are fake news. But you have to take a stand on the burning issues and concerns about the life of the nation. Sometimes we call ourselves netizens. So you have to take a look on the social, political, and economic issues of our country. Now, the events that are happening now will surely have an impact in the future, from this pandemic to the 2022 national election in May of 2022. So there are many issues that we hear about in our government, in our country. So you do not just, listen to them or observe them. You have to move from being a passive observer or participant to one who is an active participant or observer. From being unaffected to affected, because ultimately it will hit you. It will hit, in the long and short of it, you and me as members of the society, or transcend from a local issue to one that is global in character. Nakita ko sa meme ngayon, nung 1521, may picture ni Fernando Magallanes of Ferdinand Magellan for his historic voyage that circumnavigated the world. Ang katabi noon ay Jollibee sa Spain. So the example may be, but that's transcending from local to global. Whereas in 1521, the search was for the Spice Island or Moluccas, or the way going to the east, and that circumnavigated the world. And Magellan proved the sphericity of the earth, or that the earth was spherical in shape. Now it's 2021, and the favorite food of the Filipino, the food chain Jollibee Corporation, has now a branch in Spain. So the coming of Magellan was a vehicle towards the evangelization of the Filipinos from paganism to Christianity. And then the Jollibee Corporation is now invading Spain. That would be a food symbol of Filipinos being planted in the Spanish soil. That's local to global. And the intermingling of events that would involve the different nations, the diversity of nations in the world. So just almost anything before us now will have its way of finding you and me, as part of it in the future. So the question would now be, what are we doing now in the issues, in the concerns that are happening today, which will have an impact in the years ahead? And one thing that we can do sometimes is to challenge the status quo. Ano ba ang meron ngayon na baka pwede nating mapalitan o mabago? If we are not content with the status quo, then there could be a ferment of our energy, our spirit, to go to something better, to change the status quo and address in our own little way something that will be for the betterment of our country. That is being woke. Next, please. So for the theme of this General Assembly, your first General Assembly, AmbiSosyal Achieving Ambition, this one could be more personal. Yung tatlo na diniscuss ko kanina ay medyo pwedeng organizational. Ito pwedeng pang personal. Yung 21st century skills na kinakailangan natin, yung iba 4, yung iba 12, yung iba 7, and I have listed at least 4. Yung critical thinking, collaboration, yan kasi ang madaling i-memorize because they all start with letter C. Critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, communication. Meron pa yan yung iba, technological savviness, pati na flexibility, lahat yan kasama na dito sa 21st century skills na kailangan. Now, what do we do with this? We develop in school the 3H, the development of the 3H, namely the head. You develop your head, which is the knowledge-based development, and your higher order thinking skills. Ang tawag niyan sa ang tawag diyan sa school ay HOTS, higher order thinking skills. Now, when you develop the heart, make sure that when you develop the head, make sure that you also develop the heart. You have to develop the character or the values of the people. You have to develop the character or values of the individual or of the student, learner. And in developing the head and the heart, you should also develop the hand, which means you have to develop the skills and competencies of the students. That would be the holistic development in the 21st century skills that may be needed by our students. Now, if you draw it, kung masyadong malaki yung ulo, tapos maliit naman ang puso, sobrang laki ng kamay, hindi naman balance yun. Pangit na drawing yan. O kung mag-drawing naman kayo yung maliit yung ulo, sobrang laki ng puso, tapos ang liit ng kamay, again, hindi rin balance siya. Or sobrang ang liit ng ulo at ang liit ng puso, hindi rin naman balance yun. So, may konting proportion dapat. When we develop the head, we develop also the heart, and we develop also the hand. That is, to me, holistic development, because that is development of the head, of the heart, and of the hand. Next, please. Now, in your development, training, and formation in school, I would like to liken it to the pencil and the pencil maker. I think you must have heard of the story or the allegory of the pencil and the pencil maker. The pencil maker one day told the pencil this important lesson. Sabi niya, you will experience and undergo painful sharpening from time to time. Number 2, you will have the ability to correct any mistakes you might make. Number 3, what is important is what is inside you. Number 4, you will always leave a mark. And number 5, which is also very important, equally important, of the lessons being told by the pencil maker to the pencil, is that to be the best pencil, you must allow yourself to be guided by the hand that holds you. So if you picture out the teachers as the one holding you, and you are that pencil, then you must allow yourselves to be guided by your teachers, by the school authorities, so that your total human development may be made possible during your stay at LPU Cavite, taking up the program Legal Studies. And finally, next slide, I leave you with the words from Irish playwright and political activist by the name of George Bernard Shaw, or Bernard Shaw. Sabi niya, I see things and I say why, but I dream things that never were, and I say why not. Or if you want to uh, more or less rephrase it, you see things and you say why, or you see things and you ask why, but you dream things that never were and you ask or say why not. So if you want to be successful in achieving ambition, sometimes we call it in our present times as grit and determination to succeed, then you'll have to continue thinking about not just saying things as they appear, but dreaming things that never were and coming up with the best solution on how you can achieve the dreams or ambitions that you want to be in the future. So thank you very much for your invitation for me to speak here. I know that Dean was given this opportunity to give the opening remarks. The task of delivering the opening remarks fell on my lap yesterday, and I did not hesitate, except that I told our LS society that following hierarchy, it should be Sir Dan who should be delivering the opening remarks. So once again, thank you very much and welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you this afternoon.
Ayan, thank you po, Sir Nueva, for that enlightening speech. Okay, moving on. For our course orientation, let us all welcome the LLSS Vice President Internal, Korean Jane Ambat. Let us give her a virtual round of applause.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Naririnig po?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, mga ka-LS. And good afternoon sa ating mga guest speaker and also to Sir Nueva. Okay, for this afternoon po, I will be discussing our course description. Of course, let's start muna sa ating school, our beloved school. Our educational philosophy, which is the LPU of the Philippines, an institutional of higher learning inspired by the ideal of Philippine President Jose P. Laurel, is committed to the advancement of his philosophy and values, which is Veritas et Fortitudo, Truth and Fortitude, and Prodeo et Patria for God and country. Okay, next slide, please. So this is the vision of our school, an international accredited university dedicated to innovation and excellence in the service of God and country. So here is our mission. We have the research, the instruction and quality services, instruction and institutional development, community extension, and lastly, professionalism and values. Next slide, please. Okay, our school have four value, which is LPU and JPL, which is love of God, professionalism, integrity, unity, nationalism, justice, perseverance, and leadership. Next. Okay, here is our quality policy, which our school LPU is committed to provide quality, efficient, and effective service to the university stockholders through a dynamic and excellent management system imbued with values and professionalism. So, as we can see in our screen today, here is the quality objective of our school. Next slide, please. So, as we can see now, here is our MES policy of our beloved school. Next slide, please. For the key university officials, so let me introduce to everyone our president, Attorney Roberto P. Laurel. Our vice president for finance, we have Ms. Sara Laurel Lopez. And for vice president for admin and registrar, we have Ms. Maria Teresa O. Pilapil. And for our executive director for academic affairs, we have Dr. Ramon C. Maniago. And for the College of Art and Sciences head and staff, for our department, College of Art and Sciences Dean and LS Chair, we have Attorney Janice Christine Ramos Almeda. And for college secretary, chair, and social sciences, our organizational head, Mr. Dan Jefferson B. Lopez. Our psychology chair, we have Mr. Rainier Dave Sapante. And for language, community, and educational chair, we have Miss Angelica Fuelda. And for our office secretary, we have Miss Rina Palek. For our department, College of Art and Sciences, so as we can see now, here is our vision and mission. For our vision, we have envision itself as an accredited center for excellence in the science and sciences, prospering in a quiet, peaceful, and serene resort campus. Faculty and students engage in free and lively interaction to develop creative minds and critical thinking. So, CAS sees itself as a leading institute of higher learning nationally and internationally recognized for excellence. For our mission, we are committed to the following mission. First is we provide interactive learning experience through the outcomes-based education. We also provide education appropriate knowledge and skills to meet the industry requirements. We also provide entrepreneurial skills for the advancement of self-reliance and sustainability. And lastly, we also provide employable graduates who can compete globally in the field of arts and sciences and research. Okay, let's go on now to our course, which is Bachelor of Arts in Legal Study for the program description. So this is a preparatory to law course as well as a preparation for work in business organization in a higher complex and legalistic environment. So it aims to develop and to prepare young people to be good executives in government and business enterprise and dynamic lawyers. So the AB Legal Studies is offered to thoroughly prepare the students in the study of social sciences, communication, politics, and legal system in preparation for the study of law. Next slide. So here is our program educational objective, our PEOs. Next slide, please. Okay, here is the outcomes that we are expecting for each students of CAS or Bachelor in under Bachelor of Arts in Legal Study. For the knowledge, we develop mastery in the fundamental concepts in legal studies and identify and analyze practical and theoretical legal issues and prepare legal documents. And for the skills and abilities, we examine rules of legal ethics and substantive and procedural law, perform various methods and approaches in legal research, and lastly, for our attitude and values, apply core content to an occupational learning experience. Lastly, enhance commitment and adherence to the ethical and professional standards of legal education and profession. So, that would be all mga ka-LS. I hope na nabigyan ko kayo ng background about our school, our department, and our course. So, thank you very much mga ka-LS.
Ayan, so thank you very much, Miss Ambat, for your presentation. Pero, before we proceed sa main part ng ating event, medyo, magbuhay-buhay muna tayo, okay? Meron tayo ngayong pa-icebreaker. So, gusto nyo ba yon? Gusto nyo yon? Dahil ang icebreaker natin ay may pa-premyo ito. Oo. At magkano nga ba ang ating pa-premyo para sa ating icebreaker? Ito lamang naman ay tumataginting na 50 pesos. So, ayan. At nakikita na nga natin sa ating screen kung ano ang ating lalaroin. Bring me! Pero dahil nga virtual tayo ngayon, palitan na lang natin, show me. Oo. At paano nga ba nilalaro ang show me? Well, ganito lang yan, easy-easy lang, no? Meron akong sasabihin ng mga items na ginagamit natin sa ating pag-aaral na nandyan lang sa mga gilid-gilid ng mga study table nyo. At kung meron kayo ng sinasabi ko, open your mic and say your name. Tapos show me the item. Tapos pak! Ikaw na ay mananalo ng 50 pesos. Kung gusto nyo ba yun? Kung gusto nyo yung heart reacts naman. Ayan, so parang marami nag-aasam ng pa 50 pesos for this afternoon. Ayan, so let's start ha. Ready na ba? Katulong natin ang ating mga officers para ma-determine kung sino ang mananalo. Okay. Round 1. Show me highlighter. Sino may highlighter dyan? Ayan, patingin naman kami ng mga highlighter. Yes, kung meron, open up your mics and say your name.
Very.
Ayan! Rael from LS201. Talaga nga naman may highlighter. Ang tanong, kailan mo huling ginamit ang highlighter na yan?
Last 2 years.
Last school year. O, tinan mo. Sige, at dahil dyan, Rael, meron kang 50 pesos. Yes! Ayan, pa-noontime show po ang ating patugtog. And okay, Rael, mamaya na lang iko-contact kita for your prize. Okay, for the next item, show me caudal. O, sino may caudal? Kahit anong caudal. Kahit ba yan ay consti, civil code, tax. Patingin. Sino ang may caudal? Walang may caudal? Parang ako ang sasali, ha? Charat. At dahil wala nga po tayong caudal, next item na lang. Eto, show me bookmark. O, sino may bookmark? Sabihin, wala pa rin bookmark. Dahil may bookmark rin ako dito. Baka ako rin ang magpakita. Ayan, Hannah Vergara! Talaga mag-on cam ka na! At pakita naman ng iyong bookmark. Ayan! Napakaganda naman. At ang nakalagay sa bookmark niya, ano yan? Attorney in the making. Taray! Ang ganda ng bookmark mo, ha? In fair. At dahil dyan, Hannah, ikaw ay nanalo ng tumataginting na 50 pesos. More sayaw. Okay, ito. Last item natin. Pwede pang bumawi. For the last item, show me yellow pad. O, sino may yellow pad? Sino may yellow pad? May Ryuel, give chance to others naman.
Hindi na pala, sorry.
Nangangailangan talaga. Sige, wala? At dahil wala nga, Rael, sige na, ikaw na. Open your camera ulit.
Hindi ako na yan ako.
Open your camera ulit. Open your camera ulit.
Hindi na okay.
Asan ka na? Asan ka na, Rael? Ayan. Patingin ng yellow pad. Taray, mukhang makapal pa.
Hindi nagagamit.
At truth. At dahil dyan, nanalo ka nga ng 50 pesos na naman. Ayan, oo. Tama na. Siguro pwede na yun. Okay, congratulations to all the winners. We will contact you for the prize after the event. Ayan. Now, moving on. For the introduction and acknowledgement of the LLSS officers, here is the Vice President Internal, Mr. Ivan Zambrano.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Naririnig po ba ako?
Opo.
Good afternoon. Okay, so good afternoon sa atin pong mga professors na nandiyan, sa ating mga invited speakers. Kay Sir Nueva, good afternoon, especially sa inyo po mga ka-LS, no? So, good afternoon. So, this moment, please allow me to acknowledge and to introduce our LLSS officers, no? So, ito po, please officers, kapag po tinawag ang inyong pangalan, please open your cam and virtual kaway-kaway naman yan, no? Para makilala tayo ng ating mga ka-LS, no? So for this moment, please allow me to introduce our officers headed by our President, Miss Cindy Lorraine De Leon. So, Pres, kaway-kaway naman po dyan. Yun, nakita ko na po si Pres, no? Yun, so para po sa ating Vice President Internal, Mr. Ivan C. Zambrano. So ito po, good afternoon everyone. Ako po yun. And for our Vice President External, kaway-kaway naman dyan, Miss Corinne Jade Ambat. So yun, nakita ko na po siya. And for our Secretary, Sec, kaway-kaway, Miss Catherine Ray Pexon. Good afternoon po. And for our Treasurer, kaway-kaway din, Miss Roxanne Regalado. Yun, nakita ko na po siya. And for our Auditor, Miss Marinel Raisa M. Rogacion. Good afternoon. So for our Business Manager, Miss Romary C. De Monteverde. Kaway-kaway naman po dyan. Yun. For our Public Information Officer, Miss China Tamayo. And yun, for our first year representative, kaway-kaway din naman po sa kay Miss Severina Cassandra Villaseran. Good afternoon po. No, so, alam niyo po mga ka-LS, yan po ang ating 2021-2022 officers. No, po, no. Sila po ang bumuo ng LPU Legal Studies Society at nagpakahirap, nag-sacrifice para po matuloy ang ating first ever event, no? At alam niyo ba ka-LS, ang LLSS is the youngest organization po sa LPU, no? So dapat maging proud tayo na member tayo ng LPU Legal Studies Society and dapat maging by heart ang pagtingin natin sa ating organization, no? So ano po ba ang LPU Legal Studies Society, no? It is a academic organization that provides the platform for legal studies students to develop and strengthen their knowledge and capability in the aspect of legal matters. This organization is guided by the vision of our founder, late President Attorney Jose P. Laurel, who is not only competent in public speaking, but he is likewise an advocate of justice and law. Now, also, LLSS and its members are driven and honed by its university, the Latin motto of Prodeo et Patria. So, what are the objectives of this organization? So, the main goal of this organization is to promote the legal studies program to serve as an instrument for gradual exposure of the students to actual practice in the field of legal works and legal relations, and of course, to nurture members and prepare them in law school. So, kaya mga ka-LS, napakaswerte natin dahil ito po ang kauna-unahan nagkaroon ng ng LPU Legal Studies Society sa atin pong course, no? Kaya ka-LS, sit back, relax, at maging excited po kayo para sa ating mga kasabik-sabik na susunod na mga invited speakers natin, no? So, yun lamang po, magandang hapon, enjoy the assembly, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thank you, LS.
Thank you, Mr. Ivan. So, ayan nga, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce our speakers for today. Alam niyo ba na ang ating mga speakers ay mga legal studies alumni, ang ating mga ate at kuya, at ready sila para magbigay ng tips and tricks kung paano ba tayo magsasucceed sa legal studies. Ayan. Okay, for our first guest speaker. Okay. Our first guest speaker was ranked in the Inter-Private Debate Competition in Terese Martires City, Cavite. Second place in the first JPL Literary Cup essay writing competition in LPU Cavite. Champion in Legal Studies Foreign Service Debate 2017 in LPU Cavite. She continues to expand her professional experience in the School of Law Internship and Development Group in San Beda, Alabang School of Law as an administrative executive and administrative secretary for school year 2019 to 2020 and committee head for school year 2020 to 2021. Please welcome Miss Precious Angel E. Portuguez.
Hi guys. Good afternoon. Good afternoon everyone. It's nice to see familiar faces. So I didn't prepare any visuals because I want to make this as casual as possible. I want you guys to enjoy your general assembly because eventually you're gonna miss having this kind of event. You know, it's a short break from your recitations and readings. And I don't want you guys to feel that today we will be loaded with a lot of informations because it's really tiring. And you know, from Mondays to Saturdays or sometimes Mondays to Fridays. Today is your only chance to at least breathe away and enjoy your General Assembly. So let's make this as casual as possible and please don't be shy to ask questions. Remember, we're all in the same place. I'm just a student like you and we are all students here. So, all right, I want to share with you some things that made me survive legal studies and at the same time, what keeps me surviving in law school. So there are only three things that I want you guys to remember. First is to plan your things ahead and practice time management. Second is to explore and discover your own pacing. And third is ora et labora, meaning work and prayer. So let's go now to the first. Plan your things ahead and practice time management. This is very, very important, especially when you enter law school. Way back when I was in college, there are a lot of things that I regret not doing because I was stubborn, hard headed, and I didn't listen when a lot of people, especially our professors, told us na your days in legal studies were actually your advanced preparation for law school and for the bar. So during those days, I usually cram about everything, my homeworks, my readings, etc. Well, I would only do an advanced reading or plan my things ahead mga 1 week before exams because I have to make my own reviewers, ganun. Well, of course, as a result, I don't get that really good recitations. And those are the things that I regret when I was in college because upon entering law school, I realized that you really cannot cram everything. So guys, if I may suggest, well, seryosoin nyo to kasi promise this helps talaga. If possible, have your own planner. Physical planner or online planner, anything. Yung mga mahilig mag-collect ng Starbucks planner, guys, please maximize your planners. 1 year nyo lang yan pwede gamitin. So, sulitin nyo na. You write everything you want, everything you need. And what you do is this. If you have like first 50 pages readings in one subject, and like, let's say, sa college, siguro maximum of 20 cases per subject. You break that large project into small tasks, meaning you divide them through your planner. Well, disclaimer lang, it's true nakakatamad mag-plan ng specific workloads like lalo na pag sobrang dami. But believe me, this is actually the key to push yourselves in finishing your readings. So you set a goal, or in law school, that's what we called as quota. So for the first 1 hour, you read the first 25 pages. You challenge yourself to read the first 25 pages. And then for the following hour, you read the half 25 pages again. So imagine if you get used to that, eventually you're gonna finish your first reading in 2 hours. Then for your second reading, analyzing na lang, memorizing, etc. And you do the same thing with the cases. Although, yung cases kasi bihira mo siya maintindihan agad in one reading. Like, you really have to make another reading pa. Also, if you plan your things ahead of time, you won't lose track of those that you have to finish. And if you get used to that, you would know the importance of time management. Well, it follows talaga. This would allow you to accomplish your task and be more productive. Sabi nga ni Attorney Lacerna, you may not meet your goals perfectly every week, but through managing your time or through practicing time management, you're more likely to get perfect accomplishments eventually. Yon. So second is to explore and discover your own pacing. So it's very important to know what really works for you. Kasi ako, I explored talaga kung anong mag-work for me and kung anong plan of attack yung gagawin ko upon entering law school. Like when I was in college, I usually study at night kasi mas tahimik, mas relax, ganun. So inaabot ako ng midnight, then gising ako ng tanghali kasi hapon pa yung class. But when I entered law school, I tried changing my facing. So I wake up at around 7 a.m. in the morning. I took a bath, breakfast, other errands, and then I started studying at 8 a.m. That's until 11 p.m. in the evening. Kasi my class is until 10 p.m. So I still have 1 hour to wrap my things up for the following day. So yun, try to explore on your own facing that would suit you and that would work for you. And ito pa guys, if you are familiar with the Pomodoro studying technique, that worked for me. It's basically a 25-5 rule. And if you like, meron naman mga timer nito sa YouTube with instrumental background music pa ganun. So basically, it's a 25-5 rule, meaning you would study for 25 minutes. You focus away from your phones and then like take a 5-minute break and do that for 4 sequences. That's equivalent to 2 hours. And after the 2 hours, you have a 1 hour break. Actually, guys, you can try this out. If hindi, kasi hindi mo siya mamamalayan, hindi mo mamamalayan yung time. And you'll be amazed that you've actually finished and accomplished a lot of things pala within that period. Plus, you won't be that much deprived of your gadgets kasi nga you have 5 minutes naman to scroll on your Facebook, check on your emails, messengers. So yon, explore on what study habit will work for you. And then last is ora et labora, or meaning work and prayer. You guys exactly, I if you know, upon entering law school, that's 1 week after my college graduation. It's my first day in law school. So for me, it's not enough time for me to breathe after 4 years of studying. But I have no choice because I really want to enter law school. Eh. So there would be a lot of times talaga you'd feel like nag-aral ka naman, ginawa mo naman lahat. Pero minsan talaga it's not enough. So you always ask for guidance. Prepared ka or hindi, always ask for guidance and assistance. And you work well, you do well, and the rest will follow. We just have to trust and hold on to that dream that eventually this hard works will pay off. And everyone, I know this pandemic online approach is really hard and you don't get that much companions unlike before nung face-to-face pa, and after bad receipts, tatawanan nyo na lang ng friends mo yon after class. Now kasi it's different. Like, if masigawan ka during recit, there would be times na magpe-playback na lang siya sa isip mo because physically you're alone eh. Andyan ka lang sa room mo waiting for the class to end. And in San Beda, we do our recit online then. Sometimes with blindfolds, with a mirror facing your screen just to prove that you're not reading any notes from your laptop. And sometimes naman, the professor would ask you to stand up 1 meter away from your laptop. So yun, depende sa prof talaga. But during examinations, we're required to log into Zoom and use two gadgets showing our front view, side view, or back view. And, you know, the feeling talaga is worst. Siguro sa college medyo lenient with you guys, but please don't take this for granted. Don't take this online learning as an advantage to cheat your way out of college. Well, there would be times that it's really tempting to do these kinds of things. But you would eventually realize, what if magtagal tong pandemic na to? like this online learning? Would we do this until we graduate from law school or from college? Would we cheat our way out to law school and then sa bar, iiyak na lang tayo because we graduated na hindi enough yung learnings natin? So, to be honest, I'm on my third year. And right now, I'm actually scared to take my review subjects on fourth year, knowing na baka hindi enough yung natutunan ko sa ibang subjects. Why? Because there's no way out na. It's the only time we have to maximize this learning and preparation for the bar. Alright? So, yun lang guys. I don't wanna take much of your time. And thank you for inviting me here. If you have some questions, please feel free. Casual lang. And I hope to see you guys around it. Everything comes back to normal. And I hope you all make it. So you remember to always hold on to that dream. You stay away from pressure and support and understand each other. And of course, remember that delays are just delayed success and not failed dreams. Yan lang. So thank you.
Ayan, thank you so much, Miss Precious. Nako, ang dami kong napulot from her speech. And isi-share ko sa inyo yung isa sa mga best pulot of the day ko. Ayan. Eto na nga, about sa planning, di ba? Sinabi ni Miss Precious yung importance ng planning. And naalala ko tuloy yung sinabi ni Benjamin Franklin, di ba? Na parang ganito, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. O, ayun. And sinabi din ni Miss Precious na kahit nasa online class setup tayo, lagi dapat nating tandaan to study joyfully and with passion. Ayan, so thank you very much po ulit, Miss Precious. Patingin naman ang mga heart reacts dyan for Miss Precious. Ayan. Okay, next slide po. Oh, alam nyo na, ang tugtog na yan. Nandito na naman tayo sa Bring Me version 2.0. At Mary, bakit ba yan version 2.0? Dahil dito sa Bring Me version 2.0 ay talagang mas pak na pak ang ating mga prizes. Kung kanina, 50 pesos lang, ngayon 100 pesos ang iaalay namin para sa mga mananalo. So, ayan. Ganun ulit ang mechanics, ha. Magsasabi ako ng item. Kapag meron kayo, open your mics, say your name, and show us the item. Okay, are you ready, mga ka-LS? Kung ready na, patingin ako ng mga haha reacts. Haha reacts. Ayan. Ang dami ng mga masasaya. Ayan, okay. For our first item, show me sticky notes. Oh, 100 yan, mga mama. Dali, ilabas ang mga sticky notes. Clariza daw. Clariza, okay. Asan ka, Clariza? Open your camera. Asan si Clariza? Ayan. Clariza, patingin naman ang iyong sticky notes. Palapit sa camera. Palapit sa camera, dali. Ayan, at talaga naman napakadami at napakakapal pa. Parang nung face-to-face pa yan huling ginamit. Amen! So ayan, anyway, ikaw ay nanalo na tumataginting na 100 pesos! Ayan. Haba ng kanta, more sayaw tuloy ako. Oo. Next! Okay, ito na, last na to, na mananalo. Sumali na kayo. Wag na kayo mahiya. 100 din ito eh. Oo. Okay. For the next item, show me book stand. Ayan. Sino ang mga nagbabasa lagi? Show me book stand. Ayan. Si Love. Si Love. Ang una ko nakita nag-raise ng hand. Love, open your camera. Okay, Love. Patingin ang book stand mo. Patingin ang book stand mo. At ayan nga po, ay may book stand nga po si Love. Dahil dyan, Love, ikaw ay nanalo ng tumataginting na 100 pesos. Oh, kamagat. Sayo ka naman dyan, Love. Amen. Ayan. Tama na ito, napagod na ako. Yun lamang po ang ating palaro for this afternoon. So, ayan. Again, sa mga nanalo, congratulations, and we will contact you for the prize after the event. Okay? We will now proceed to our second speaker. Ayan, second speaker for today. Next slide. Ayan. She won Best Undergraduate Thesis in the Lyceum of the Philippines, University, Cavite. Academic Award recipient of the Lyceum of the Philippines, University, Cavite. She has the Certificate of Recognition awardee for exemplary performance in upholding academic excellence as member of the LPU debate team in the Lyceum of the Philippines, University, Cavite. Ayan. Let us all welcome Miss Victoria D. Chavez.
Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. I am really delighted to be considered as one of your resource speaker for today's event. Okay, and it is really an honor because formerly as a student of LS during the year 2014 to 2018, I can really say that this course helped me in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to my preparation in law school. Although LS and law school are actually different, but the approach and the way of study is similarly the same. However, in law school kasi, the cases and the assigned readings are just different, but it is actually an advantage. And I highly recommend this course to a lot of students. And it is the best choice for you because it will really, really help you to understand the law subjects without experiencing the shock of your lives. Now, for today, I am going to share some of the tips that I had managed to use not only in legal studies but also here in law school. So allow me to share my screen. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, for a while. So I'll be only sharing 5 tips. Uh, 5 tips that I've used in law school for a while. I think I've already shared the presentation. Okay. Okay, allow me to share my screen lang. Okay, wait lang class. Okay. For a while, for a while. Okay, allow me to share my screen. It's only... Okay. Okay, I saw it na. Okay, are you now seeing the screen? Hello?
Yes po.
Okay,
Yes po, Miss
so...
Vicky.
Yes
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, a lot of students here are actually familiar and they were my students in NSTP. So it's really happy to see all of you virtually. Now let's go on to the tips that I'll be sharing with LS students. Because aside from being a law student, I am also a faculty member and I teach in LPU Cavite as a college instructor in the College of Arts and Sciences. Now, the title that I've used is actually Hurdle for a Greater Cause. So points to ponder in the field of law and legal studies. We don't just study law for purposes of self-interest or self-gain. As you can see, it embodies a greater purpose for everyone. And as you've said, para sa Diyos at Bayan, you don't just merely study political law, you don't just study civil law only for purposes of personal gain. You use it to help other people as well. So it wouldn't be possible, you wouldn't be a successful lawyer without taking into consideration the concept of time management. So in law school, and even in LS, the concept of time management is really important. And I know that you are aware of the phraseology, which is time is of the essence. So you make the most out of your time. Be productive as much as possible. I know for a fact that you are tempted to scroll or somehow went to social media whenever you get bored of your readings, you get drained out. So as much as possible, just like what the previous resource speaker mentioned, make a planner or create a timer that would enable you to ascertain what particular period that you're going to study. And as I've said, always choose a schedule that effectively works for you. When I was in LS, I recall that the mindset is that I should always study until every morning. And that kind of mindset was even applied when I was in law school. So there was actually a time that I'll study until 9 p.m. Siyempre, takot ako sa professor ko. I'll study hanggang 6 a.m. It sounds crazy, right? So the thing is, maganda siya pakinggan. You think that you know everything just because you've studied for a long time. But substantially, you forget because your brain is already not functioning at that very moment. So I advise you to please don't drain yourself. And if as much as possible, although you are making the most out of your time, just don't kill yourself. I know law school is really pressuring as well as legal studies. So gamitin nyo lang, utilize your time in a healthier manner. So as much as possible, is actually notes. LS, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so apologies for the short internet interruption. As I've said, it is really important to have a time management that perfectly works for you, okay? As a working student, yung nagturo ko when I started teaching when I was in second year in my law school, doon na nagkahirapan because I had to make a shift, a big shift on how to adjust my schedule in law school. So there are times na 6 hours na lang yung aral ko, there are times na 4 hours na lang. But I always value my time. So just like today, we always have asynchronous class. We have synchronous class every night. I study and every morning magtuturo ko. The remaining time, I usually dismiss the class every 2:15. The remaining time will be allotted for reviewing, reading materials, reading the cases. So as I've said, choose the time that perfectly works for you. Don't kill yourself. And when it comes to studying law, because you must prioritize your okay. The second is know your enemy. Okay. For the second tip is know your enemy. What I've said, what does it mean by that? When we pertain to know your enemy, it doesn't necessarily mean that you consider your professors or your law professors as your enemy. As we can see in the presentation, carefully distinguish the strategy and the teaching style of merong nagpa-power trip. So as much as possible, please ascertain them and their manner of teaching. And this, what words or utterances should be avoided during recitations. As for example, even in legal studies, this will really be applicable because your professors will be lawyers. Avoid every time saying that in my opinion, because the law professor does not care about your opinion. They care about what the law says or what the case says. And also avoid I believe, because in legal studies you study not to become candidates of Miss Universe or Miss Philippines, but rather you understand the context of the law and the provisions of a particular the particular provisions. And also i-avoid nyo din yung I have not read the case, attorney, or judge. Inevitably this happens all the time, but as I've said, please maximize your time, and please do ensure that you read all the cases. When I was in first year, syempre nakakatakot yung constitutional law one because our professor is terrorizing students. There was even a time that she crumpled a booklet and nagmumura siya. And that is really normal. So, huwag kayong maging sensitive. So, there was a time na 60 cases yung inassigned niya, and we have to just read all of it. We were compelled. Siyempre, undeniably, there were times na I was not able to finish. But the thing is, talagang you need to ensure that you read all the cases in law school. So, may times na ang professor nagpapalabas when you said the following utterances. So, it depends sa prof. That's why this second tip is know your enemy and ensure that you are prepared before class. As future lawyers and as future law students, you must be prepared in class. You cannot just enter the room with a piece of paper and not no books in your desk. So as much as possible, please do please do ensure that you are equipped for the battle. So in layman's term, us law students have this connotation na kailangan marami kang bala during recitation kasi there are instances na iikot si recitation, hindi lang one round, kundi may 2 rounds pa and worst may 3 rounds. So as I've said, know your enemy in a figurative context. Okay, so number 3, this is really important, LS students. Create a strong support system. Surround yourself with a group of people who have the same vision as you. As I've said, the people that surround you can either mend you or break you. So in my case, when I was in taking my LS course during the year 2014 to 2018, even if tatlo lang kami during that time, I have a really strong support system. I have this, I consider them as my siblings, wherein we share notes, we will look for one another, we monitor one another, and oversee that everything is doing all right, not even in an academic way, but also in a social way. So as I've said, always look for one another as it consequently results to good karma. In law school, we have this saying, magkaroon ka sana ng good karma. And this applies not only to examinations, but also during recitations. Naway matawag ka sa kasong nabasa mo. The same thing goes with the same thing goes with good karma. Siyempre, if you are selfish, if you don't share your materials, chances are there are people who will say tawagin ka sana sa hindi mo nabasa. So that is the kind of system or the thing that I've observed in law school. You need to create a strong support system because I do believe that it is really crucial for an individual in law school to have a companion. Sabi nga, hindi naman kayang mag-survive ng isang tao sa law school. You need to have a set of people who will motivate you, and that group of people must have the same vision as you. And as much as possible, share materials and references in every subject. This is really, really important because not all the time a legal studies student or a law studies law student has all the materials. Siyempre, others have this financial difficulty. They sometimes, yung iba nagdadamot, hindi lingid sa kaalaman nyo yan. Other students are hiding notes, they are hiding books, para sila yung makalamang sa recitation. Please do avoid that kind of misconception. Maging mabait kayo sa isa't isa. Always look for one another and share materials. Even the compilation of digest, I'm not encouraging you to read digest, but there are times that you can create a digest pool to help you during the recitation. But as much as possible, read the case in the original form. Okay. Now for the 4th tip, read the law by heart. There is no shortcut in understanding the law. And what made this tip remarkable is when I remembered what the first speaker did is that other students are really tempted to cheat. As I've said, when you become successful lawyers, you need to understand the substantial and procedural aspects of law. So hindi mo lang siya maiintindihan not just because you glance in your computer or in your other devices, but you need to understand and you need to know it by heart. And it is necessary to read the provisions, text, and cases in its original form. Okay, wag lang kayo magbabasa sa Uber Digest. Don't merely rely in batas.org. Don't merely rely um, in other internet websites that would just easily and immediately provide the case. As I've said, as students of the law, read the case in its original form, by heart understand the decisions of the Supreme Court, and ascertain on why the Supreme Court ended in that decision. So merely relying on reviewer is just a temporary knowledge on the surface. Sa mga estudyante na nagigipit and kapag naubos na ang bala, the tendency is that they will just rely on reviewer, or that they will just rely on a simplified version of the book, which is I highly discourage. Well, there are times that a student cannot prevent that, but as much as possible, syempre inevitable naman ang pangyayari. Read the books, okay? Don't just take a picture of the book as a display. They are not just there to be on your table for aesthetic purposes. So nandyan siya to be able for you to read its context in its original form and understand also the commentaries provided by several authors. So as I've said, don't just rely for reviewer kasi ang reviewer is just it is a temporary knowledge. It is not a form of information that will give you an in-depth understanding on the law itself. So that is the fourth tip, which is to read the law by heart. The said tip is not only applicable to law students but also to legal studies students, because your professors will really ascertain and they will really scrutinize if you really understand the law by heart. Okay. So fourth is repetition in writing. Jot down important notes during recitation and discussion. Commonly, what the law professor mentions during the class appear in the examination. Not only in the examination, but also in recitations. Write notable laws and Supreme Court cases in the duration of the class. Before, when I was in legal studies, I used to zone out. When I am no longer called by my professor, my mind is just wandering. I'm just looking at the window, thinking, when will this end? But that kind of mentality was changed when I started going to law school. So even if hindi ka na nasa deck, you're not in deck anymore, you need um, to be alert all the time and also write important things that your professor repeatedly says. Because my professor I have this professor, she's in persons and family relation. May time na pinaulit-ulit niyo yung case, may time na pinaulit-ulit niyo yung concept about law. And consequently, what happened is that the thing that she repeatedly says appears in the examination. So, kung ano yung naririnig nyo sa professor nyo in LS, you just jot it down. Put it in your notebook, and I am telling you that will subsequently help you not only in your recitations but also in your examination. And also yung the thing that your professor repeatedly mentions, just like the cases during recitations, pakisulat siya, because the chances are these kinds of cases will appear not only in the examination, midterm examination, and also in the bar examinations. So yung mga cases just like David versus Arroyo, the case of Chavez versus Gonzalez, Republic versus Sandigan Bayan, these are notable cases that my professor keeps on mentioning every time, na even up to this day, I can still recall. Okay, Wasmer versus Velez. Okay, there are a lot of cases remarkably mentioned by the professors. Please do take note of that and do not forget to remember it. Okay, so lastly is know thy purpose. Always remember the very purpose why you want to understand in legal studies. Okay, as I've said from the very beginning of of this of my turn. Okay, the very reason why you are studying legal studies is not for personal gain. Although some of you want to just simply say that you want to be a future lawyer, that sounds very grand in that manner, but you need to determine why are you doing that in the first place. Do you want to be a lawyer for purposes of personal gain? Do you want to be a lawyer to consider it as a money-making venture? Because if that's your reason, kapag nasa law school ka, then most likely you will not survive. You will not really stand. Kailangan meron deeper reason yan. You have that kind of view that will really help other people. Kasi this profession is really intended para lang dumami yung pera. It's really not a course, or it's really not a profession that will help you say that it's that will really help you establish in the grand manner, but rather talagang in-establish tong kursong to and the law profession to be able to help other people, especially in these trying times. Okay, stick to your whys. Okay, whenever you are in the brink of giving up, and whenever you are in the brink of dropping out in legal studies or in law school, always remember the reason why you want to be a lawyer. Do you want to be a lawyer to help change the justice system, to assist the people who are in dire need of legal assistance? Do you want to be a lawyer because you want to ensure that all people are knowledgeable about the law and that they will not consequently resort to tulfo? So, alamin mo yung purpose mo. You need to stick to your whys. Kasi the law can really, the study of law can really break you. Talagang dadating ka sa point na magbe-breakdown ka. But as I've said, always remember the very reason why you are in that disposition in the first place. Huwag mong kalilimutan kung bakit ka naandyan. And as you can see, when the going gets tough, the tough must keep going. Kapag lalo kang nangihina, that grit must still be there. You must still rely. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you must still hold on to your purpose. You must still hold on to the very reason why you decided to choose that course and why you want to be a lawyer in the first place. Okay, although this is not included in the tips here in the presentation, but I do recall when I was in LS, my professor said that always remember, pray, 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 study, study, study. Okay, don't just merely rely on your own personal capability. As as a student, I do believe that God will help us in every circumstances. He will guide us in every step of the way. So you cannot just merely rely on your own strength. And it's also important to note that what my dean in the College of Law said to us: study as if you've never studied before, and pray as if everything depended on it. Okay, so thank you, Padayon, future abogados. I do hope that you're able to learn something from the tips that I've provided in the presentation, and it's really a pleasure to be invited as one of your resource speaker. Before, there was a legal study society established in the year 2014, but as time passes by, medyo hindi siya na-monitor, but I do commend everyone for having the altruism to have this kind of organization despite of the circumstances that we have today. Thank you so much, and I hope to see everyone when things go back to normal. Okay, thank you all.
Ayan, thank you po, Miss Vicky. Salamat po sa talaga nga namang siksik, liglig at umaapaw na tips and tricks. Pero alam nyo ba mga ka-LS, ang pinakatumatak sa akin sa presentation ni Miss Vicky ay yung importansya ng pagkakaroon ng strong support system. Ayan. Kaya dito sa LLSS, dahil konti lang naman tayo, tulungan natin ng isa't isa, okay? Tayo ang maging sandalan ng isa't isa para sabay-sabay din nating marating ang ating mga pangarap. Ayan. Okay. So moving on to our third and last guest speaker. Next slide, please. Ayan. He is a Dean's Lister and entrance scholar in college, then passed the PhilSat in 2017. He received the award as Best Speaker in the ANC Square Off the Firm Debates Season 18, a member of the JPL Honor Society, and a Dean's Lister in the LPU College of Law, and a former Vice President of Lyceum Student Government College of Law in the academic year 2019 to 2020. He has he worked as an executive assistant, legal consultant, and a corporate secretary in various companies. Currently, he is taking up Bachelor of Arts in Theology in California. Yan, please welcome Mr. Ryuel G. Pestrana.
Hello, good afternoon to each and every one of you. Ah, so earlier we are described actually as atin kuya of legal studies. No, I'm not so sure if I'm going to introduce myself as a kuya. So now you can call me Kuya Ryuel. So as mentioned earlier, I am a graduate also of legal studies, and I recently finished my law school, and I'm not so sure nagisama pa, but yes, I am currently enrolled in one of the Bible schools in California. So right now I'm here to speak about the hacks to succeed in the field of legal studies. That is the title or the topic that was given to me by your president. So I don't have any power slides and I don't have any notes. I guess I just have to share with you my personal experiences way back in college and even in law school. So let me start with the statement of John Mortimer. He once said that no brilliance is needed in the law, nothing but common sense and relatively clean fingernails. So as you can see, you really don't need to be knowledgeable, right? Hindi mo kailangan maging masyadong matalino in order for you to succeed in the field of legal studies. You just have to have sense of common sense, as stated by John Mortimer. But how should you cope with the rigors of college or law school? Paano natin ma-overcome yung mga obstacles, yung training ng law school? And we have to answer that first in order for us to survive in college, in legal studies program, and also in law school. First, you should have a burning desire to be a lawyer. Yan lang. You have to answer that. Bakit ka ba nandyan sa legal studies? Gusto mo lang bang ma-expose sa pag-aaral ng batas? Or you have a deeper purpose? You have a deeper sense of fulfillment, and that is to become a lawyer. So first, in order for you to cope with the rigors of law school, you should have a burning desire to be a lawyer. So kapag nasagot na natin yon, it is very easy na lang na pag-aralan ng batas. You know why? The truth is, law is relatively easy to study if the student has this strategy and commitment to excel. So dapat meron kang strategy then, of course, and dapat meron kang commitment, not only to pass, but excel. So as we all know, many laws are poorly drafted, diba? And some professors are skilled in complicating the simple. Siguro si college, hindi ko sinasabing dito yan sa Lyceum, maybe in different schools. But yung professor in law school and kahit siguro sa mga legal studies program or legal management, the professors are fond of complicating the simple. So instead of simplifying the complex, they engage in intricate legal pedagogy to intimidate students and make them cower in fear. So ang kanilang belief is it is better to be feared than to be loved. So tatakutin ka nila. Okay? So you have to overcome. Kailangan tanggalin mo yung takot mo. There is a Latin phrase, if I can remember it, it is nihil temendum est. It is fear nothing. So we have to get rid of our fear. No? Although sometimes nakakatulong yung fear para mailabas natin yung ating adrenaline rush, no, konting kaba. Pero hindi dapat tayo maging fearful. We have to be courageous, lalong-lalo na tayong nag-aaral ng batas. So number one, I would like to share with you is regarding time. Time, that which man is always trying to kill, but which ends in killing him. So we have to remember that time is a fleeting resource, hindi yan continuum. Nauubos ang ating oras, and academic excellence in law school is a work in progress. And that it requires thorough planning and time management skills. So time management is your biggest responsibility as a student of law, and lalong-lalo na sa mga law students. So remember this, you don't have to burn the midnight oil every single day, because sooner or later you will burn out. You just have to be consistent. Remember that. Sometimes we legal studies students, madalas tayo nagka-cram because of the voluminous assignments, cases na ina-assign sa atin ng mga professors natin. We tend to burn the midnight oil every single night, but that should not be the case, because eventually if we will do that, we will burn out. So you just have to be consistent on your plans. So kung meron kayong time frame for you to study on a particular day, on a particular period, you better be consistent with that. So I have actually here 5 tips para sa atin on how we survive the rigors of legal studies program or in the legal studies field. So number 1 tip is for you to persevere. Remember, nothing beats hard work. And we all know, alam mo, mas nakaka-bless pa na makakarinig ka. Let's admit this. When we see people who are from the scratch, talagang zero, like can you recall the janitor to pass the bar exam? I think his name is Attorney Ramil Comendador. Napasa niya yung bar exam, and alam nyo, mas nakakaantig pang pakinggan yung mga ganang story, and that is because they persevere. Talagang nagbibigay sila ng hard work on what they are doing, and just like them, we should likewise be yung alam mo yung hardworking tayo sa lalong-lalo na sa legal studies program. So this is the field where learning never stops. So you have to read and read. Kailangan mahal mo yung ginagawa mo, because eventually mapapagod ka if wala dun yung heart mo. Secondly, systematize. So number 1, persevere. Second is to systematize. Meron ka dapat system individually and sa klase. So individually, meron akong system. You know, I came from the batch in law school. As I have mentioned earlier, I just finished my law school. And ako yung isa or the lone survivor of my batch. Hindi ako nakakuha ng ganong kalaking support system. Why? Because hindi kokonti yung mga classmates ko. And lalo na nung dumating yung, and this is my personal experience. When I reached 4th year in law school, I have to enroll in LPU Makati. And syempre, I'm from LPU Cavite, wala akong kaibigan doon. I have to work hard. Ako lang, sarili ko lang. Hindi ako aasa sa ibang mga tao, sa group of people. Kasi parang mahirap makipag-make friends on that very semester. So you have to systematize. You know what I did? I strategized in every exams. I will take it upon myself. Ano kaya itatanong ng professor? Kasi wala akong time mag-aral ng ganun. I don't have the luxury of studying because I am a working student. And even in college, I am a working student. So I don't have the luxury of time. So I have to strategize. Kaya I consider myself as not that so smart, but at least I know I am a strategist. I consider ko, ito itatanong to ng professor, ito hindi ito itatanong. For example, in negotiable instruments law, napakadami niyan. So instead of studying yung acceptance for orders of protest, aralin mo na lang yung section 1. And that is for you that is being smart, diba? You should study smart. You have to strategize. Hindi naman lahat ng mahaba, madaming cases, yung iba paulit-ulit na lang yung doctrines. So why not study the landmark cases? You just have to have this kind of strategy in order for you to survive the legal studies field and also in law school. So that's number 2, systematize. Number 3, don't take yourself too seriously. You know, there are times in legal studies, when the professors questions, talagang hindi mo masagot and lalabas ka ng room, puno-puno ka ng frustration sa sarili mo. Nagbasa naman ako, pero hindi ko nasagot yung question ng professor. You know what? Don't take yourself too seriously. There are recitations that you would rather forget. Kalimutan mo na yan at bumawi ka, okay? And sa ganung paraan, magkakaroon ka lang ng depression. Kailangan lagi kang positive. Kapag tayo nasa legal studies field and sa law school, kailangan lagi tayong positive. Alright, meron kang bad recitations, accept it. And promise yourself na gagawin mo yung best mo para hindi na maulit yon. Hindi ka dapat nag-delve doon sa mga bad recitations mo and instead focus kung ano yung magagawa mo tomorrow and sa mga iba pang recitations. So that's number 3. Number 4, aim to excel, not just pass. Kailangan, meron kang syempre, you are aiming for the best. Sabi nga nila, you should aim for the moon. Para kahit hindi ka man tumama sa moon, maglaland ka pa rin sa stars. So you should aim to excel, not just pass. Many of us, ay 75 lang naman ang kailangan ko. Paano pag nag-74 yan? Di todas ka. So you have to excel in whatever you're doing. Give your best shot. Kapag may gagawin ka, meron kang mga routines na gagawin mo, always give your best shot. The readings you ought to read it now. Wala nang time bukas. Maraming mga nangyari sa panahon natin, naglipa ng COVID, baka wala nang time. That's why you should do your best now. That is why in legal studies field, you should not just aim to pass the subjects, you should aim to excel. So that's my 4th tip. And the last one is never forget to pray. There are times in law school na wala akong nabasang cases. As in, wala akong nabasang case. Papasok ako because as I've mentioned earlier, working student ako at yung work ko minsan, syempre may mga deadlines. So papasok ako ng klase na unprepared. Although you should not be following me, okay? Hindi yan dapat ginagaya. But darating ang oras, napapasok ka ng classroom, hindi ka masyadong prepared. And you know what? Ang nagsalba sa akin is just a prayer. Nagpray ako sa Diyos ko, okay? And then I prayed na sana hindi ako matawag sa recitation. And praise Him, hindi ako natawag sa recitation. So, yung mga prayers na ganito, kahit na simple lang, kahit na sa tingin natin, hindi naman, naman yan, wala namang pagtutunguhan kung magpipray tayo. When you study the Bible, yung particularly the Bible character named Daniel, his prayer shut the mouths of lion in the lion's den. So meron magagawa ang panalangin. Never forget to pray. Lalong-lalo na kapag before kang sumabak sa gera, sa recitations inside the class. And bago ka mag-aral, because ask God for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That helps. So now, employ your legal education to fight corruption and evil society. We should remember na kaya tayo magiging lawyer is to help others. So arm yourself with the knowledge of the law and use it as a shield to protect the common man. Take a stand. Kaya tayo nag-aaral ng law is for us to take a stand. Don't be bench warmers. We legal study students, we are not mediocre. Don't be bench warmers. Hindi tayo hapless bystanders, and we are no pushovers. Take the side of the good against the evil, the right against the wrong. Make things right. Now, legal studies student, go forth and dedicate your lives in the service of others. And mangyayari lamang yon if you have that desire to help others and you have that burning desire to be a lawyer. That's all. Maraming salamat po for being here. Thank you once again.
Ayan, thank you so much, Mr. Ryuel G. Pestrana. Ayan, to summarize, no, sa tatlo nating speaker, ayan, again, yan, nagbabalik na. Okay, to summarize yung mga points ng ating tatlong speaker. Okay, first, sinabi nila na kailangan natin ng good time management. Sinabi din nila na kailangan natin ng effective na game plan. Isa pa, strong support system. And ang pinaka-importante sa lahat, pray, 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 and pray. So, ayan, thank you so much po sa ating mga speaker. Ngayon, dumako naman po tayo sa Q&A or sa ating open forum. Ayan. The floor is now open for questions. Again, kung meron kayong mga questions, feel free to type it sa ating chat box para mabasa ko, or di kaya, pwede kayong mag-open ng microphones para kayo na mismo ang magtanong sa ating mga speakers. Ayan, meron po bang mga katanungan? Ayan, meron pong tanong si Ate China. Okay, tanong po ni Ate China sa ating mga guest speaker, ano daw po ang pinaka-favorite nyong law subjects? Okay, Sir Ryuel, ano po ang favorite nyo daw pong subject sa LS?
Before I answer that, I would like to reiterate yung sinabi kanina ni Vicky. Meron daw professor na nagpupunat ng booklet. Can you recall? Nagpupunat ng booklet and talagang terror tong professor na to. But you know what? Sa atin lang, maliit lang naman ang legal sa studies. 25 lang yung nakikita ko dito na ako yung favorite student nun. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, my favorite subject is constitutional law. And that professor mentioned by Miss Vicky, that is the professor, our professor in constitutional law. So yeah, sometimes kung sino pa yung terror, siya pa yung minamahal mo yung subject. But yes, my favorite subject is constitutional law.
Kayo naman po, Miss Vicky, ano po ang favorite subject nyo? Ayan, si Miss Vicky, Prof. sa NSCP.
My favorite subject is intellectual property law and also constitutional law na din because on how our professor taught us the subject. So that was the prosecutor during that time. She was our professor. So it's intellectual property law and constitutional law. So dalawa na lang. Okay.
Okay, how about si Miss Precious po? Ano naman po ang inyong favorite subject?
Siguro ako, I would choose criminal law. Kasi parang ito yung subject na until law school, hindi ako nahihirapan mag-adjust. Kumbaga yung natutunan ko sa crim nung LS ako, talaga na-apply ko until criminal procedure. Ganon. Yan.
And thank you po. Meron pa po ba tayong mga questions? Okay. Wala na po ba? Ayan. Kung wala na, we will will now proceed to the awarding of the certificates. Let us welcome the Vice President External, Miss Corinne Jane Ambat, to award the certificates to our guest speakers for today.
Okay, hello, good afternoon po ulit sa lahat. Okay. First, okay, I would like to say thank you very much sa ating mga guest speakers na talaga namang sobrang effective ng mga tips and hacks na sinabi nila sa atin na surely maa-apply nating lahat, most especially sa mga first year natin na nandyan. Okay, madami tayong nakuha. Of course, now for the awarding of Certificate of Participation, Lyceum of the Philippines University Cavite, the LPU Legal Studies Society, Certificate of Participation is hereby given to Ms. Portuguez, Ms. Chavez, and Mr. Pestrana in grateful acknowledgement of her distinguished and invaluable service rendered as a guest speaker on the LLSS First General Assembly entitled AmbiSosyal, Achieving Ambition in the Time of Pandemic, thereby contributing immeasurably to the prestige and success of this event. Given this 25th day of September 2021 in an online platform, Microsoft Teams, LPU Legal Studies channel. So this is signed by our dear President, Ms. Cindy Lorraine De Leon, and our Vice President Internal, Ivan Zambrano, and for our Vice President External, yours truly, Corinne Zaid Ambat. Once again, thank you very much our dear speakers and to Sir Nueva as well. Thank you mga ka-LS.
Ayan, may we request our participants to open up their cameras para sa ating photo op. Open your cameras and para makapag-picture tayo kasama ang ating guest speakers. Ayan. Okay. 3, 2, 1, smile! Ayan, isa pa. 3, 2, 1, smile! Ayan, okay, thank you very much. Moving on, let us all welcome the LLSS President, Ms. Cindy Lorraine De Leon, to deliver the closing remarks for this event.
Hello? Narinig po ako?
Yes, Ate Cindy.
Wait lang po technical difficulties po. Before po ako mag-start ng closing remarks, I would like to remind everyone po na meron po tayong evaluation form. Isasend na lang po dun sa chat box yung link. Please fill up po para po makuha niyo po yung mga e-certificates niyo. So first of all, I would like to thank all of the wonderful people who made this assembly possible, especially my fellow officers, the creatives, the technical committee, and everyone na handang magpuyat and magpagod, and also for our beloved advisor and our dean for supporting us in the event. Moreover, I would like to express my gratitude to our three guest speakers. The LLSS community is very thankful to have you as our speakers for today. Thank you for inspiring each one of us and for sharing some tips to jumpstart our journey in the legal career. Let me cite one of the key takeaways that I got during this event, which is there are no shortcuts in achieving our goals and advocating justice and equality and our dreams of becoming legal practitioners. To be able to succeed, we really need to focus, persevere, and have faith in our capabilities and most especially to God. In Nota Bene, in this event, we coined a new term, the word AmbiSosyal, which comes from the word ambitious or the desire and determination to succeed. And another word is the social, or being in a higher or noble position. The idea comes from the reminder of one of our professors who often say, hindi basta-basta ang pangarap at ambisyon niyong maging abogado. Kung gusto niyong matupad ito, ay ngayon pa lang mag-aral na kayong mabuti. Hence, may this event help us maintain our burning passion and desire to succeed in our chosen noble profession. Lastly, I would like to thank everyone who attended the first General Assembly. May we all be reminded not to give up in dark times, for difficult things doesn't mean impossible. If viewed in different perspective, the word impossible itself says I'm possible. By the way, to further extend the camaraderie of the students, the LLSS family would like to invite you to our official Discord server. In the said server, we seniors, LS401, will do our best to conduct mentorship programs, assist lower batches when they need help in terms of academics, and share our references and personal notes in different subjects. Hope to see you there mga ka-LS. Tara, aral as a friend.
Ayan, thank you Ate Cindy. Tara nga, aral as a friend sa ating Discord server. Ayan. And ka-LS, please join us now for the singing of the LPU hymn. Ayan, thank you so much mga ka-LS for joining our event. Thank you din po sa ating mga guest speakers and also special thanks kay Roxanne Regalado and Tricia Simbahon of LS201 and of course ang ating LLSS Creatives para sa ating mga magagandang slides ngayong hapon. And of course, to Job Lumagi of LS201, ang ating one-man technical team. Oh, taray! Caring ni Job. And mga ka-LS, that concludes our first General Assembly. See you in the next event, mga ka-LS. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Again, I would like to remind everybody to fill up the Google Forms na nasa natin chat box para sa ating mga certificates. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Congrats, officers.
And so parang officers na lang po ang nandito. Hi.
Congrats po.
Hi.
Thank you po. Ang galing.
Hello, congrats everybody.
everyone.
Natapos din. Charot.
Iba yung energy ng natin, ng host.
Oo nga eh. Ang dami kong ininom na Enervon. Mga isang banig.
Wala naglalag sa akin.
Picture tayo lahat. On cam kayo.
So,
Dali. Wait lang.
Wait.
Si Job, open cam ka.
may
Kuya
picture
Ivan.
ba kanina? Yung sa photo op?
Apo.
Hanggang saan
fine
umabot
po.
yung recording nung nawala ako?
Awarding na po yata nung
Ay, okay po. Yun, buti na lang. Di kinaya ng data. Picture tayo, guys. On cam kayo.
Wait lang. Sa akin, ayan, nandito na pala lahat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 tayo.